Hello guys, and welcome to the third video of this class series. In this particular video, we'll be looking at HTML text formatting. Okay, so I'm going to open back my VS Code. I'm going to create a new file, name it .3. Oh, I didn't mention this earlier, but all files used in this class, will be uploaded to GitHub. The link will be in the video description, or for those of you on the WhatsApp group, the link is also going to be in the WhatsApp group. So for this, we're going to be looking at HTML, or I just say text formatting. Okay. So, oh, made a mistake here. The mistake is I should have ended it with .html. As soon as I'm done with that, I open with Live Server. It's going to open with my Brave browser, but I usually don't use that for my classes. So I'm simply going to copy it and um, put it on my Chrome browser. All right. So right now it's empty because so is right now is empty because we currently don't have anything on the browser. So I'm going to start with the boilerplate code, which is by HTML, and this we get this boilerplate code. So we're looking at text formatting and editing formatting. All right. So saving this, I'm going to just drop it here so we can. I'm going to let me move it a bit further like this. I think this is better. Um, and trying to split this up. What's going on with my screen? All right. So now I'm going to zoom in a bit so we get this. So in HTML text formatting, we have a number of ways to format the text. And for anybody who is familiar with using Microsoft Word or any of that kind of word editing program, there are things you have to do, such as sorry guys, just a minute. All right, so there are things you do, such as bold, making a text bold, making it italics. Then you have the subscripts, and then you have the superscript, and so on and so forth. So we'll be looking at all of these formatting elements here. Right. So I'm going to start with this. So to get started with, I'm going to create a paragraph now. And another thing I didn't mention previously, which I'm just going to add here in this comment, is that we have inline, tags, and we also have, I'm going to talk this into a multi-block element. So we have inline tags, and we also have block level tags. The best way to explain it is to say this. For inline tags, first, okay, let me just use this. This is an example of a block level tag. Will I say metas are block level tags? Let me use a better example. So a paragraph tag is an example of a block level tag, and the reason is because if I put in anything in my paragraph, it shows up as HTML, reads up everything one as a block. Let me show you that from the inspect. This is how you go to your inspect element. You right click on your browser, click on inspect, and I just want to show you guys this. Let me bring this down so it's much more visible. All right, so I'll click on this as Ctrl Shift C, and then you see when I come here, you notice that it kind of highlights this entire section. Now let me add another thing here. Let me add something like an H3 tag here and says level 3 heading, something like that. Now let's come back here again and see. Now you notice that from this entire point up to this ending, it's kind of a blue line. So it's kind of like it's kind of a blue highlight, right? So basically what it means is that this is treated as one entire block, and this other one is also treated as another entire block. So it's not going to stop here. It's not going to stop at this G. Rather, it's going to stop at the end of the line. Even if I'm on full screen right here, you see we get the same thing, just like this one here. Now, even with this P tag, it's not stopping at this end. Rather, it's still moving on to the end of the screen. Okay, so that's how it works. To better explain this, when I start working, explaining the inline form, the HTML formatting element, then you get to understand what I'm saying more. So the first one we have here is the B and strong. Now, these two, bold and strong, visually they have the same thing, but they how do I explain this? They are not exactly the same thing, but visually they show up the same thing. So to better explain that, I'm going to just create a sentence here. Says, okay, let me just pick this particular one here. So the way inline element works is you put them inside a block level tag. Remember I said P is a block level tag. So with this inline element, I put it here, which is like this. I'm going to say strong and then close this. Now it says I'm using HTML and ML formatting, it automatically closes it for me. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here and then put this here. Now you notice that this particular one is bolder than the rest. Now, this is what I'm trying to explain by inline and block level tags. Now, this entire p tag is a block level tag. Now, notice what happens when I highlight, I mean, when I'm over on the DOLOR, I don't know how to pronounce it, so apologies for that. Now, you notice that this one has its own kind of highlight. But when I come to Ipsum here, it doesn't have its own highlight. No other text has their own highlights except for this particular word here. That's an inline element. So it has its own tag. It has its own not its own block. It's like its own element. Okay. So and I also mentioned that the P and the B tag and the strong tag work similarly. So I'm going to pick this consecutor. Right. All right, I'm just going to pick this one right here that I'm highlighting, and then add a B tag here. Now, B tag used to be used in HTML4 version, but it's in HTML5 version, which is the current standard version. People just go with strong rather than the B tag, and you notice that they have the same. They appear visually the same. Okay, but the difference is that why the B tag just makes it text bold, the strong tags highlight that a text is important, just like it says here, an important text. And you might wonder about what's the difference. It's not really there's no difference. Well, there is a difference because in assistive screen readers, the technology is able to detect that okay, this isn't just a bold text, this is an important text. It's just like if you when you're reading a textbook or any kind of book, and then you want to highlight an important part, you get your highlight pen and then highlight it. Now, this is how the strong tag works. For the B tags, it just makes it bold. The assistive screen reader doesn't see it as assistive technology doesn't see it as anything important. So I'll advise you always go with the HTML5 version rather than the HTML4 version. And for the HTML5 version, you use strong. Now, I in HTML4 is just makes it text italics, and let me show you an example of that. Okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use label here. So I'm going to, like I mentioned, all these formatting tags are inline tags, they're not block level tags. Okay, if I come out here and just put something like I like this and say italics text, and then I'm also going to come here and say emphasize text. So em and say emphasized text. And now when we go back to our browser, we see that they are both on the same line, compared to the others that always breaks into a new line. These two are both on the same line. But when I hover here, it doesn't highlight the whole line for me. Rather, just highlight this particular one as one and this one as another. Compared to when I come here and then it highlights up to the end. This doesn't highlight up to the end. It highlights up to the ending of whatever content is inside it. But visually they look the same, right? But like I mentioned, with assistive technology, these are not the same. This is just a text in italics. And this is the text you are emphasizing on in your HTML web page. Okay, if you have more questions, I suggest just read more on HTML5 tags. Or you can use AI also to get much more. I don't know. Should I say to get better answers? I wouldn't say that. All right. So mark and let's look at mark text. So we have I'm going to just say mark here, and then I'm going to put this here. Yeah. So let's look at that. And then we see, now you remember what I mentioned about highlighting, right? See how this is. With CSS, you can actually change the color of this. This is just how it comes straight out of the box. That's HTML. Okay. And then if you look at smaller text, smaller text just makes a particular text small. Let me create a new p tag here to say p. I'm going to say this is a random assortment of the words that are coming to my head straight from the void without any shape, form or filter. The just gonna add it just for the void I steered into the void and the void blink. Alright, for anybody who is into philosophy, I'm sure you actually you get the gist of this last sentence here. Anyway, so now I'm going to pick random and add it as not just random assortment and say small. Yeah, so I'm going to put just random assortment. Then let's see what happens there. And then we see how this text is smaller compared to the rest of the text. Okay, and then let's look at del deleted text, inserted text, subscript text, and superscript text. So let me just go through it. Let's say I deleted this from my content initially. So L, when we move this, put it from the void. Let me put it this way, and then we see it gives us this slash. And then we have inserted text, which is simply going to put it as here. So that's INS the void field, and then you see it gives us this underline. Now note that we can do all this with CSS styling, but it's kind of not even kind of, it's advisable you do this with HTML. Like I mentioned, all this is to help assistive technologies. So for people who are maybe visually impaired or whatever, can't go through the websites visually, the assistive technology knows how to go through the web page and read it out for them. Do you understand? So that's basically how it goes. And just like I mentioned, this is treated as its own text, as its own box. And this is only like this because let me zoom out here. So no, not there, not that. So oops, why am I? Okay, so back here, Control Shift C, and then see this is treated as its own block. This is treated as its own block. You get what I'm trying to say when I say that we have block level tags and inline tags. So this entire text is a block level tag, but all these ones are inline tags because they are inside the block level tag. So they don't get to start from a new line, just like this one. If this was a paragraph tag, if I had used the paragraph tags here, let me just explain it this way. So I can put a paragraph tag, put this inside the paragraph tag like this, and then let me do this also. P tag, and put this here, and then you notice that it doesn't stay side by side anymore. It starts from a new line. See, so now this is treated as one block and this is treated as another block rather than separate blocks like I did initially. Okay, and then we have superscript and subscript. The best way to explain superscript and subscript is to use mathematics as an example. So say we have something like binary, right? So we have 1011. Sorry, a minute please, a minute please. Need to quickly attend to this. Oh, that's apologies. Okay, anyway, So say we have something like this, and then we want to say this is in base one. I'm sorry, not base one. This is in base two, and you have two real at least of maybe CW. So let me come back here. Then 7 days we get this, and this isn't what I want. I want it to be like this is base two. So to do that, I would wrap this in a subscript tag, which is SUB. Just put it here. Now you get now you see this. You see how this is now subscripted. Same thing applies with superscript. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Instead of that, I'm going to say something like 3 to the power of 6. So 3 to the power of 6. I'm just going to do this. Then SUP and then SUP. Then we get this. So you understand it can be it's okay. My printer is showing me a problem. I think I made it. Oh, I found my mistake. This is not properly closed. And yes, in the browser, it's showing us working properly. So that's one of the funny thing about HTML. You might think you are doing it right, and you're not exactly doing it right. So don't get carried away. Anyway, that's all for HTML formatting. So I'll see you guys in the next video.